Ezekiel, you had the first point.
Sure. Yeah, just wanted to highlight some of the great work that Ilya has been doing with the GL filtered search component for Vue. So recently started integrating into Value Stream Analytics, and Michael's been also looking at integrating it into, I think, Issue Analytics. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of like make everyone aware that we have a couple of tokens already available. So if you need to add a filtered search, I'd recommend using this as a good starting point if you're already in Vue. A couple of things are still coming as well. So there's, I noticed there wasn't the right styling applied for a disabled state. So that's in the works. And we also had a bit of a catch up in analytics to go through sort of like what we learned using it and steps kind of that we want to take in the future when we need to incorporate more filter bars. Basically, there's a little bit of work going on by Kushal as well. So we're just trying to figure out what will be the best way to kind of reduce duplicated effort and things like that. So yeah, I recommend watching the video. There are no GIFs, unfortunately, but next time I think we'll make sure to throw a couple in to keep you interested. Yeah.
Yeah, also recently the filter research finally landed the support to customize the coloring of entire tokens. So you can mimic the previous functionality when you select the label and the entire token color becomes the color of that label. It's thanks to Kushal, he works on that. And it's just like in the context, because I believe Martin requested that, and actually this functionality is used almost in every filter search where we used labels.
No, it's really cool to see the new component being used in a lot of places, and so and also particularly seeing a lot of people collaborate with it.
Yeah,
as much as it is, yeah. Oh yeah, as much as it is your brainchild. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm very happy that people are able to contribute that, because that means at least the code is sane. Because like previous version was insane. We still had about the epic you've mentioned about clearing the existing versions. We should also probably create an issue and remove the legacy Vue version, which like sits in our code base, but right now is used nowhere.
Interesting.
It lives in the Vue shared component. It was like an attempt to rewrite, and I believe it failed because the person is not more in GitLab anymore. I find it a bit ironical, understanding how much trouble I had with the same component. But like we have a legacy attempt of Vue implementation just sitting in our code base.
I'm going to note that. Does anyone want to take this on as an action item to chase down or create the epic, and also perhaps include deprecating or removing the Vue shared version?
I will go and create Epic. I already have a list of existing filter research usages. I've built it when I was analyzing it for building the original one. So I just need to find it somewhere in my notes and copy paste it to the Epic about no, it's fine. I will just create an Epic with the list, and people who will work on that could probably create a separate issue for each instance.
Yeah, I think it'll be something similar to like creating issues, and well, these are large enough conversions where I think they will warrant their own issues, and then we can have them assigned to each different group that page belongs to.
Okay, we'll do that.
Awesome, cool. Ezekiel's also happy to help. So yeah, if you whoever wants to collaborate on that, please do. Rob, did you want to vocalize your subpoint here?
Yeah, I was told by Jan that if I don't mention it in some form of group, he's going to assassinate me. So we've started using CSS Grid now in compliance. For the compliance dashboard, we needed a table structure, but we needed it, you know, with tables, you have very fixed width columns. There's no flexibility. So we couldn't get the design visualizations of having a big column one side and smaller columns right aligned. So we decided to use CSS Grid, which is giving us the visual ability and structure of a table, but with the flexibility of Flexbox. So we just thought we'd raise that. If anyone wants to chime in and tell me how terrible the code is and burn me at the stake.
You want to show us?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I really want to see this.
Me too. Can we peer pressure?
Really?
him?
Oh, you can't pressure me as a group thing. It just doesn't work.
All right.
I would show you, but my GDK is currently a bit broken. It's about the time of the week where I need to rebuild GDK. It's been slowly falling apart throughout the last 24 hours.
The Postgres related
Yeah.
or what?
Pardon?
Was it related to the Postgres upgrade or what? It was just
No, GDK just dies for me.
Yeah, I'm slowly trying to migrate from GDK to our alternative we had, which is called GitLab Compose Kit, which is built around Docker, and it plays really nice on Linux and fast, but there are multiple issues on the front-end side. We are slowly building and addressing that. Because right now, I really like how nicely it hides the complexity of entire setup on your system behind the different Docker containers, and like, wow, why I didn't know about that 6 months before.
Yeah, I didn't think our Docker implementation was fully fleshed out yet, which is why I wasn't using it, because I wanted to use it as soon as I joined, but I didn't feel like it was there yet.
it works, but with the amount of focus we're putting into GDK as a team, as like, the developer experience team behind it now, and making that experience better for everyone, I don't know that Compose Kit has kept up with that type of progress. So, I mean, I used it back in 2018, probably the first half of 2019, but I don't know how it is now.
Well, Camille is doing a great job in keeping it in sync with GDK features, and well, sometimes because like it's more like a one-man project with Camille leading that, sometimes it even moves faster in terms of flexibility and maintainability.
For sure. The dependency management is much easier, right, when you're not putting on bare metal. So there's a lot of advantages for sure.
Yeah, and another big point is like when sometimes I need to get job done, it's so easier to roll back like to the previous GTK version after failed update. If like I have no time to debug what happened is, just like rolling back the container version and you are done.
I dropped a link in the interesting links section if people want to check it out. But it's usable. But it is also unofficially not officially supported. So, if that ends up slowing you down, then, yeah, that's on you.
I believe you are linking the outdated version. No, not actually the outdated version, but the fork, because the original one lives on the GitLab org organization now.
Yeah, they migrated it. It was just it was a link I had in my history. So,
Yeah.
But I'll
like,
update it real quick.
Consider it to be a bit more officially supported.
Yeah, fair enough. Oops.
Now I wonder which one I actually tried to install and set up. I need to go back and see.
Both should be the same
It's
because
actually the same.
it should link to it's just redirecting to the GitLab org now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cool. So, Rob, I am also nominating you to demo this at some point.
I'm deciding to ignore your request and decide that I only read Spanish now. I don't read English. I have no idea what it means.
Lo siento. Cool. Yeah, do you want to take the next point?
Sure. Yeah, so just something that I found out recently that was kind of blew my mind a bit is, and this may be super obvious to some people because it's like once I heard the idea, was like, why haven't I been using this whole time? Is that you can use the test factories in Rails console to set up a bunch of test data. This is especially useful if you need to set up like 30 projects and merge requests for stuff like the compliance dashboard or whatever we have. Because going through the UI or creating a script for the API, and that gets like infinitely complex, and it's so nice to actually just use the test factories for that. So that's something that Manoj showed me, and I was like, just mind blown. Because now it's as easy as basically copy and pasting stuff that you already have in your R specs, and just throwing it into your Rails console. So if anyone's interested, I can either just make like a tiny post about it, or actually maybe, I don't know, write like a full tutorial on how to do it for different things.
I'd be interested in seeing a tutorial.
Kind of sounds like a
Definitely.
video walkthrough, Jan.
Hey, at least someone will be recording videos for the video series. It also might be worth, this is like kind of like a slightly related, like we have database seed scripts that we can write. So they're, well, I imagine it's probably similar to these factories, but you write some Ruby scripts and you can optionally include that. And then actually when people are testing your changes, they can seed your merge request with that data so they can properly test it as well. I think that's come in handy quite a bit for a lot of analytics features. So that's also probably something to look at or demo just to be more visibility around it. I also nominate Rob as tribute to demo this.
Yo no comprendo.
Cool. So Jan, perhaps maybe we can talk in our one-on-one then to see when we would want to demo this or something, or if you just want to record it, or or we can talk about it now. I mean, how would you rather do it? Like kind of a brown bag session, or?
I mean, I would do it however people find it most useful. I'm thinking probably, I mean, it helps to also have some written resource. So probably just have like a script and then talk through it so that people can copy and paste commands, because nothing's worse than seeing a video and not being able to type fast enough. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. It's good to know that I'm not the only person, well, myself and Rob were the only people that didn't know about this. So that's cool.
Awesome. And thanks for bringing it up. On to the interesting links section. Ezekiel, I think you have the last point.
Sure. Yeah, just wasn't sure if everyone's aware of this like link to the latest build of our GL utilities, but I find it quite handy to just have that bookmarked. And as I'm kind of building out new features, kind of just search through if something is a utility CSS class or not. And obviously, like, if it's not there, then you should definitely think about adding it. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that link in case anyone hasn't seen it.
How do you use this this page practically?
Command F.
I figured, but I guess not knowing the structure of the CSS yet, what do you search for?
Yeah, I mean, that can be a little bit tricky. And I found that sometimes the class names aren't always exactly what you'd expect. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but particularly sometimes when you have classes that are breakpoint specific. So the breakpoints aren't always in the same position, the class name. So usually I'll either search for maybe like a CSS property that I actually want to apply, or if I do remember like vaguely seeing it, then I might just search for like a little part of the what would probably be in the name. So things like if I know that it's margin top that I'm looking for, but I'm not sure if we have margin top 3 or something, I might just search MT dash and go through what's available. It can be a little bit time consuming sometimes, but yeah, I'm sure there's probably quicker ways to do it.
feel like CSS property makes the most sense. I'm just like, I was just trying to reason about, nice comment about PHP. Yeah, CSS property probably makes the most sense because like I was getting confused when I was seeing this in the reviewed code because I wasn't completely aware that we'd roll this out, especially with like the important classes. But yeah, like seeing margin, like some of this is consistent with Bootstrap, but then like I think there's like GLPX that doesn't particularly make sense. Okay, yeah, I can see it's horizontal or X-plane padding, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's just like straight from Bootstrap as well. So I mean, if you've had a look through the Bootstrap utilities, a lot of them seem to be replicated in our utility CSS as well, just with like a GL prefix. So I guess for me, that's probably helped because I was using the Bootstrap ones a little bit more maybe than others, but I think probably searching by property is probably the easiest way.
Nice, that's really good context. Yeah, that helps a lot more to know what to look for.
Does anyone know why we have a GL spacing scale 11 and then scale 11.5 and then scale 13?
It's because there are a couple of places in design where designers currently insisted like we need exactly with this spacing or otherwise the other tiny elements will not fit properly. And since we should stick it to the grid, they were like forced to add this to the grid.
Okay, I guess this is more of a question for UX then. It's like, why do we go from 11.5 to 13 though? Like, where's 12 in this? And also, what is 13 mean?
They're like added on demand. I mean that we are trying not to add dead elements just not to blow out our GitLab UI CSS. So it's like bad luck in terms of UX design.
I'll just add in another link actually to the doc that I remembered, which kind of explains a bit of the rationale about how we get classes into this utilities file. So that might be worth reading if you haven't seen it before.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Anything anyone else wants to share before we? Oh, we're actually over time. So any quick final thoughts or anything like that? Otherwise, we can wrap this one up. All right. Well, good seeing everyone. Have a good start to your day, end of your day, depending where you're at. And see you all around.
Yes.
Ciao. Adios.
Bye.
Hasta luego.